Greetings YouTube. So one of my subscribers recently asked for some tips on getting 3 stars on the Drone Zone challenge in Batman Arkham Knight. So I'm going to give you some tips for how you can do that, but we're also just going to discuss in general how to drive fast in the Batmobile. So the first thing we're going to talk about is drifting, why you should do it and when and how. So to drift, what you're going to do is you're going to push the square button as you take a turn. You're not going to let up on the gas at all. You're just going to push to the side and press square, and it'll make you slide around the corners. There are 3 reasons why you should drift. One of those reasons is because it helps you take corners a little bit faster. Not immensely faster, but you can take corners a little bit faster. You can take corners without ever having to slow down at all once you learn to drift around the corners. The second reason is that when you drift, it actually gives you a time bonus. Time slows down while you're drifting, and only half as much time passes during a drift. You'll notice while you're drifting in a race that the time counter at the top of the screen turns green, and if you actually time that out, only half as much time passes on your time counter as actually passes in real life while that counter has turned green while you're drifting. And the last reason why you want to drift is because when you drift, it quickly refills your boosters, allowing you to get more use out of your boosters, which will make you be able to go faster. So speaking of boosters, that is the next thing we're going to talk about. The reason why you would use your boosters is obvious. Boosters make you faster. What we're going to talk about is when you should use your boosters and when you shouldn't. Now this seems kind of obvious. You want to use your boosters on straightaways and not use them on turns, because obviously using the booster on turns is going to push you off the road. Using them on straightaways is going to make you go faster. But there's a little bit more to it than this, because you have to be very aware of the road conditions when you're using your boosters. If you're on a bumpy road, or if there is debris in the road, or even if the road is just not level, if it's going up and down, if there's hills, if you're going over hills, then what's going to happen is the Batmobile gets jarred, and if you're using your boosters when the Batmobile gets jarred to the left or right, it's going to push the Batmobile much further off to the left or the right, and you're going to end up spinning out and just driving off the street and wrecking. Now the Batmobile can handle a wreck, but if you're trying to go fast, that's obviously going to ruin that. So you should only use your boosters for extended periods of time if you're on a straight, flat road with no bumps and no debris in the road. The next place you're going to use your boosters is anytime you need to drive up a wall. You'll have places in the game where you're going to drive up the side of a wall, like when you're driving in a tube type area, and occasionally you'll even end up going all the way around and having to drive on the ceiling for a little while. And using the boosters when you're going into this helps you to get up the wall without losing control of the Batmobile. The most important time to use your boosters, though, is right after a drift. Now, because the drift gives you a time bonus, when you go around a corner, you want to try and hold that drift for as long as you can. But the longer you drift, the harder it is to maintain control of the car, and eventually you're just going to start sliding off the road. So after a drift, when you start to lose control, when the Batmobile is facing the direction you want it to go, you're going to give it just a short boost from the afterburners. Just tap it, and what that's going to do is that's going to give you a little bit of forward momentum, and it's going to straighten out the Batmobile, and it's going to make it stop sliding left and right. So that will help you recover quickly from a turn after a drift. The last place you're going to use the boosters is anytime you hit a jump. You're going to want to usually jump as far as you can and go as fast as you can during the jump. So right before you hit a jump, you've got to get the car lined up where you want to go on the jump, and then you're going to hit the boosters and just hold them until you run out of juice. And that brings us to the next point, which is jumps. Now there are, I believe, 3 jumps in this particular track. And on all three of these jumps, you need to hit these jumps just a little bit to the left. You don't want to hit them dead center or to the right. If you hit them dead center to the right, something bad will usually happen. If you're too far to the left, sometimes something bad can happen. Almost all of the jumps in the entire game, you're always going to hit them just a little bit left of center. And that will keep you from crashing into things or falling off the edge and into the water. Okay, so that covers everything generic about how to go fast in the Batmobile. So once you master those, that will help you with all of the racing in the game. And once you've mastered all of these techniques, you should be able to drive pretty fast. You should never have to let up on the gas at all. You should be able to drive with the gas pedal all the way down, pedal to the metal, and never have any problems. So I'm going to give you some tips here accompanied by some video clips so you can see what I'm talking about. And then what I'll do is I will run through this entire track. I'll run the video through this entire track and kind of give you some commentary so I can tell you what I'm doing as I'm going through this, point out some things. And then I'll run this track through just one more time and just shut up and let you see how I do it. Okay, so there are 5 hourglass time bonuses in this level, and if you pick those up, you get 3 seconds taken off of your score, so that gives you an extra 15 seconds. So you definitely want to try and pick those up. 2 of them are right at the beginning of the race, and they're underneath this big Eiffel Tower looking thing in Miagani. And you're going to want to make sure that you go straight into this first one and then drift into the second one to save yourself some time, and then of course hit the afterburners afterwards to straighten out of that turn. And then the other 3 are in this tunnel on the way into the Wayne parking garages towards the end of the level. What you've got to do to get them is you've got to be able to drive up on the side of the wall and just keep going, so you're driving on the ceiling when you get to the second one, and then you want to be coming down on the right when you hit to the third one. And these are pretty hard to get. You'll notice that I actually miss one of them. I usually do miss this second one, but I have got all 3 before. But if you miss 1 or 2 of these, it's not the end of the world. I finished this race at 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and you only need 3 minutes to get 3 stars, so I had plenty of time, and that was with missing one of these. Obviously, it's a good idea to practice doing this, running up over this tunnel like this to see if you can get all 3, but don't worry, don't sweat it too much if you miss 1 or 2 of them. And just after this tunnel with the hourglasses, you're going to come into the Wayne parking lot, and you don't want to follow the arrows in here because they're going to take you out around the parking lot, and that's the long way. You can save a little bit of time as you're coming out of this tunnel into the Wayne parking lot by just going immediately to the right, and then that also gives you a great chance to do a drift, which will cut a little bit more time off of your score, and then you can hit the boosters to take off down the corridor the other direction. Okay, so the last thing we need to talk about in this level is the combat. So you have to drive quickly between areas, and then you have to stop and fight drones at 3 different places. Now, in order to do combat quickly, you need to be able to target these drones with your 60mm cannon, and you need to be able to hit each drone very quickly without taking a lot of time to aim. In order to do that, what I like to do is I like to aim left of the car. I try and get the vertical up and down at about the right level. I aim left of the car, and then I strafe the car to the right to bring the crosshairs over and fire as I cross in front of the drone. And then after you destroy a drone, you're immediately going to turn the camera, and you're just going to work your way around in a circle so that you can hit all of the drones very quickly. There are 4 drones in this first area. Do not let these drones shoot you. If you get hit by these drones, I recommend just giving it a restart. Not only will it give you a big penalty on your time, but it also is going to drain your weapon power, which is important. You need to know just how much weapon power you have, and you need to use it appropriately in the later fights to get through them very quickly. Now, after this first fight, you're going to leave the way you came. So your next checkpoint is going to be behind you. So flip the camera back immediately after the fight and start heading back the way you came. Okay, your second set of drones is going to be right here by Polly's Diner from the beginning of the game as you come around the corner. Now, before you do this, it's a good idea to invest in the ability to improve the amount of weapon power you get from destroying a drone. And if you have that, you've already destroyed 4 drones, you should be coming into this. One more shot should build you up to weapon power level 2. So you're going to very quickly hit the first drone, and then you're just going to mash the square button so that you can fire 4 missiles to destroy 4 more drones. That is going to still leave 1 more drone, and it's going to be behind you. So you're going to flip the camera around behind you and take out that last drone very quickly. Now, unlike the last fight, the exit from this fight is the way that you were going, and of course you're going to be facing the wrong direction here, so immediately after you destroy this last drone, flip the camera back around and head off the way you came, turning right and going past Polly's Diner. Okay, then at the end of the level, as you're coming out of the Wayne Tech parking lot, you're going to have your last drone fight, and there's going to be 6 more drones. Now, one of these drones is going to be a Diamondback, and that's going to be the drone that is right in front of you as you come out of here. And you don't want to waste your time shooting this thing because it can take a lot of shots, and that's just going to waste time. So rather than going for the drone in front of you, turn to the left or the right, and there will be 2 drones on each side. Take those drones out as quickly as you can, and then turn the camera 180 degrees and take out the 2 drones that are behind you. Now, this 4 drones and the 1 drone from the last fight should fill up your weapon meter to level 2 again. So then you're just going to back up so that you're kind of in between the last 2 drones, and one of those will be the Diamondback, and you're just going to hit that, you just mash that square button again to fire off your missiles, and then that will instantly destroy the Diamondback and the last drone. So you can get through this fight very quickly without having to waste time taking extra shots at that tough Diamondback. Alright, so let's run through this again. Okay, so you're going to hit the boosters right at the beginning, and you've got a nice straight road, so you're going to use as much booster as possible. And you're going to get the first one and then drift into the second one and hit the booster to come out of the drift. And you got to straighten out before you hit that jump. Go around this corner, and this is another nice place for the boosters. Do as much drifting as possible here. Now here's a jump. We want to hit this kind of left of center so that we go straight. If you ever wreck into a wall, just go into tank mode real quick, and then you can get back on track and then hit the boosters to go as quick as you can without losing too much time. Okay, so now we got the first drone battle. So we're just going to take that first guy out. Now I went counterclockwise here. You can go clockwise. It really doesn't matter as long as you just continue in a circle. And then when you're done, the exit is back the way you came. Now that was a good long drift there. That's a great spot for a drift. This spot is actually a little harder to drift into. It's really easy to overshoot that. Up here looks like a good place for a drift, but it's really not, so I recommend just turning there. Again, left off the jump so you don't crash into the building. And here we've got our second fight. You're just going to hit the first one and immediately go for the missile launchers, which is going to leave you 1 left. You go behind you, destroy it, and then your exit is the way you came in, turning right past Polly's Diner. Now you don't want to use the boosters here. It's a tempting place to use the boosters, but there's too much in the road. It'll just make you slide off the road. Again, left of center so you don't slip off into the water. And then as you're driving along here, you want to stay close to the building because otherwise you'll be crashing into all the debris in the middle and on the right side, and that will slow you down. Left again just a little bit off of that jump so that you don't fall in the water or hit a barrier. Okay, now you're going to do a quick drift around this corner. That'll buy you some time, and then you're going to go up on the wall. You're going to try and hit all 3 of these. I missed one. and turn and go down the corridor. At the end of this corridor, you're going to come to the parking structure, so you're not going to go straight, you're just going to turn right immediately and do a big strong drift around here, saving you a little bit more time. And then this is you're just gonna boost straight out into the last combat section. Now we don't go straight because that's gonna be the Diamondback. We're gonna turn left, take out those two drones, turn 180 degrees, take out those two drones, then we're gonna back up so that both of these drones are in our sights, and we're gonna hit the missiles to destroy the last two drones. So you go, we had almost 20 seconds there, quicker than we needed. And I'll let you watch that just one more time without the commentary, so you can just concentrate on the race and what it looks like.